Welcome, dear listeners, to another tale from the Bedtime Bookshelf. As the world outside quiets down and the soft embrace of night draws near, let us transport you to the bustling city of Merabell, where magic dwells in the most unexpected of places. Tonight, we journey alongside young Max, a boy whose curiosity will lead him into a realm of painted wonders, age-old wisdom, and lessons that span generations. So snuggle under your blankets, close your eyes, and let the tale of the Enchanted Mural whisk you away on an adventure of dreams, choices, and the timeless bonds of family.
Calora was not just a town, it was a living testament to ages gone by. Flanked on its eastern side by the shimmering Elmsbridge River, whose waters carried tales from distant lands, and guarded to the west by the venerable hills of Daylon, it was a realm of both history and wonder. The streets lined with cobblestones bore the imprints of countless souls, merchants, minstrels, and mystics, each having once called Calora home. The heart of this ancient town was its grand square, a vast expanse where life in all its myriad hues unfolded. Children, their laughter echoing in the air, played games passed down through generations. Vendors, with their carts adorned with tinkling bells, displayed wares that ranged from spicy fragrances of the southern isles to silken fabrics from the distant east. Troubadours strummed age-old melodies, their songs painting the air with nostalgia. Yet amidst this lively tapestry stood an artifact that seemed almost out of place in its stillness: the mural. Spanning an entire wall of the town hall, this gargantuan artwork was more than just a depiction. It was the soul of Calora. Scenes from its rich past, battles won, festivals celebrated, vows exchanged under the starlit sky, were captured with an artistry that made time stand still. Max, a lad with an insatiable thirst for tales and legends, often found himself entranced by the mural. Many an afternoon after his lessons with the town's scholars, he'd stand before it, his hazel eyes tracing the adventures painted in vibrant hues. The mountains, the dragons, the ancient heroes, all seemed to beckon him, whispering tales of valor and mystery. The townsfolk, especially the elders, often watched Max with a mix of amusement and concern. "The mural has seen millennia," old Baxter, the town's historian, once remarked, his voice raspy with age, "and in its depths lie tales not meant for the faint of heart." Max's parents, ever protective, had often told him of the mural's legends, how some claimed it to be a gateway, a portal to realms beyond their world. They cautioned him with gentle but firm words to admire from a distance, to not be swayed by its allure. But such words, though spoken with the weight of wisdom, often fell on the deaf ears of youth. And so, on one fateful twilight, with the last rays of the sun casting the mural in a golden glow, and the shadows of the night creeping slowly, Max's curiosity got the better of him. With a heartbeat that echoed in the vast silence of the square, he extended a trembling hand towards the mural, towards the unknown. Little did he know that this act, seemingly simple, would entwine his fate with the very threads of Calora's history, setting him on a path of adventure, danger, and discovery. As the sun bid adieu to the town of Calora, casting elongated shadows upon the cobblestones, the town square, usually bustling with life, began to quieten. The vendors, having sold most of their day's wares, packed up their stalls, their voices forming a soft, murmurous lullaby that blended with the evening wind. Troubadours ceased their melodies, and the aroma from the bakers' ovens began to wane. It was the hour when the world seemed to hold its breath, suspended between day and night. In this serene stillness, Max, driven by a force he could neither explain nor resist, found himself walking towards the town square. His steps, although hesitant, had a strange determination to them, as if some age-old prophecy was guiding them towards an inevitable destiny. The mural, bathed in the soft glow of the setting sun and the emerging stars, seemed even more enchanting than he remembered. It pulsated with life, the painted characters almost beckoning him closer, their eyes filled with tales that spanned centuries. The allure of the mural had always been potent, but tonight it was overpowering. Max felt a magnetic pull, an inexplicable yearning to touch its surface, to feel the brush strokes, to understand the depth of the stories it held. As he drew nearer, the ambient sounds of the town, the distant bark of a dog, the gentle closing of windows, the soft conversations of people heading home, began to fade, replaced by a deep, encompassing silence. And then, with a heartbeat that felt louder than the town bell, Max extended his hand, his fingers inching ever so closer to the mural's vibrant surface. The moment they made contact, a rush of sensations flooded him, a cold chill, a burst of colors, and a sensation of being drawn into a swirling vortex. The sensation of movement was both disorienting and exhilarating. Max felt as if he were caught in a tempest, being carried by winds of colors and memories. Time seemed to stretch and contract, moments feeling like hours and eons fleeting like seconds. Then, as suddenly as it began, the whirlwind ceased. Max found himself standing in a version of Calora, but it was unlike any he had ever seen. The world around him shimmered with the vividness of a dream. The once familiar cobblestones were now strokes of paint, each brush mark tangible and fluid. The buildings, while structurally identical to what he remembered, now gleamed with vibrant hues, reds, blues, and golds, that seemed to ebb and flow like a living entity. As he walked, his feet left imprints on the painted ground, ripples of color spreading out with each step. The air was thick with a luminescent quality, casting everything in a soft, radiant light. But what was most astonishing were the skies above. They swirled with colors Max had no names for, colors that seemed to be born from the dreams and imaginations of countless souls. Though the enchantment of this painted world was overwhelming, a creeping realization began to take hold of Max. He tried to call out, but his voice produced no sound. Instead, it created ripples in the air, like a pebble dropped into a pond. The boundary between this realm and his home seemed palpable, a mere veil that tantalizingly shimmered just beyond reach. The mural's frame through which he had journeyed loomed in the distance, acting as a window to the real Kailora. It was a world so near yet felt galaxies apart. The beauty of this painted realm was undeniable, but it was also isolating. Every step Max took was a reminder that he was an outsider, a living being in a world of artistry and imagination. The weight of his predicament began to bear down on him, the initial wonder giving way to a rising tide of panic. Yet, in his heart, the young adventurer knew that this was but the beginning of his journey. The path to understanding this world, and finding his way back, lay ahead, paved with challenges, encounters, and the age-old wisdom passed down through generations. Max, feeling the encroaching isolation of the painted world, began to wander aimlessly, hoping to find something familiar, a beacon to guide him home. His footsteps echoed strangely, like soft chimes of a forgotten melody. With each step, his emotions swirled within him, producing ripples that disturbed the ever-changing landscape. Trees shifted their positions, and painted streams redirected their courses as if in response to his rising anxiety. He found himself in what appeared to be a painted rendition of the town square. In the dim twilight, the painted stalls looked almost mournful, their vibrant canopies sagging under the weight of a silence that seemed to permeate the very air. Pausing, Max sank down beside a fountain that held no water but shimmered with hues of moonlight and shadow. He wrapped his arms around his knees, his thoughts a turmoil of regret and longing. "Oh, why did I not heed their warnings?" he whispered to himself, his voice laden with despair. The echo of his parents' words, cautioning him about the mural, played hauntingly in his mind. He remembered the countless times he'd stood before that magnificent piece of art, yearning to unlock its mysteries, and in a moment of unchecked curiosity, he had done the unthinkable. "Foolish boy," he murmured, shaking his head. "To think that by seeking stories, I've now become trapped in one." But Max was not one to surrender to desolation. After allowing himself a few moments of regret, he took a deep breath, determination filling his chest. There must be a way out, he thought, recalling tales of old where heroes caught in dire straits would find a path illuminated by wisdom and courage. He began to speak to himself, a practice he often indulged in when in deep thought. If the mural is a portal between worlds, then there's a way back. Every story has a beginning and an end. I just need to find mine. Rising to his feet, Max cast a determined gaze upon the painted horizon. He may have been swayed by the allure of the unknown, but he wasn't going to let this enchanting world hold him captive. Somewhere in this vast, vivid realm lay the key to his return, and he was resolved to find it. As Max ventured forth, the landscape around him began to evolve. From rolling painted meadows dotted with flowers that bloomed in hues of dreams and thoughts, to rivers that flowed not with water but with streams of radiant light that pulsed with emotions. There were mountains that stretched towards the sky, their peaks made of strokes bold and vigorous, telling tales of strength and endurance. Birds, or at least painted semblances of them, flew overhead, their wings casting prismatic shadows on the ground below. But they sang no songs. Instead, their flight patterns seemed to sketch stories in the air, tales that danced briefly before being whisked away by the winds of imagination. Then, as Max moved deeper into this surreal cityscape, he started to notice figures. Painted beings that moved with graceful fluidity, their forms constantly changing and shifting, just like the landscape itself. They resembled the people of Merabell, but were rendered in strokes and colors, their expressions depicting the most profound emotions and memories. Curious, Max approached a group that was gathered near a luminous pond. They turned to regard him, their eyes pools of stories and secrets. "A traveler from the world beyond," said one, her voice a melodic blend of echoes. "What brings you to our realm?" Max hesitated for a moment, then replied, "I touched the mural. I was curious, and now I find myself trapped here, searching for a way back." A painted man, his form outlined in strokes of wisdom and age, stepped forward. "Ah, the mural. It bridges our worlds, capturing dreams, memories, and stories. But it's not a place for the living to linger." Max swallowed, feeling the weight of his choice. "I realize my mistake, but is there a way back?" The painted beings exchanged glances, their forms rippling with shared memories. "There might be," the elder figure responded, "but you'll need to understand this world first. Every brushstroke, every hue holds meaning. The mural doesn't just depict stories, it is a living story." A younger painted child, his form swirling with hues of innocence and wonder, tugged at Max's sleeve. "Why did you touch the mural?" he asked, genuine curiosity in his painted eyes. I wanted to know its secrets," Max admitted. "I've always been fascinated by it." The child laughed, a sound like the tinkling of chimes. "We're all stories in the end? You, me, the mural. Maybe your story is just beginning." The painted figures, sensing Max's genuine regret and yearning to return, began to share tales of the mural's history, of dreamers who had ventured and returned, and of the profound connection between their world and his. Max listened intently, absorbing their wisdom. With each story, he felt a step closer to home. The land ahead was a canvas of enigma and wonder, one that seemed to stretch indefinitely, presenting a realm where every step revealed new mysteries. Max set forth with a determination that belied his age, reminding himself with each stride of the tales his parents had regaled him with during the warm embrace of countless nights. It wasn't long before the first challenge made itself known. Before him sprawled a vast, intricate maze, its walls formed by dynamic, ever-changing brushstrokes. They twisted and turned, morphed and melded, presenting a labyrinthine puzzle that seemed insurmountable. But as he observed, memories surfaced of an old story his father had shared, one of a hero navigating a maze using only the stars as guides. Looking up, Max noticed that the painted sky above was dotted with stars, each shimmering and pulsating, echoing the tale from his memory. Drawing from the story, he began his journey through the maze, using the stars as his compass. At each turn, he'd pause, recalling fragments of the tale and seeking guidance from the constellations above. The challenge was as much a test of his memory as it was of his resolve. As he ventured deeper into the labyrinth, other challenges began to emerge. At one junction, he was met by a group of painted elders, their forms rich with the shades of time and experience. Their faces were canvases of stories lived and lessons learned. With voices that harmonized in a chorus of wisdom, they posed riddles that echoed the tales from his youth. Each solution depended on Max recalling the lessons and morals his parents had emphasized. He remembered one such tale, of a fisherman who could only catch fish when he sang in harmony with the sea. Another, of a mountaineer who found his path only by listening to the whispers of the winds. Each riddle, veiled in metaphor and symbolism, drew from these stories. And with each solution, the painted figures would nod in approval, their forms brightening, allowing Max passage further into the realm. While the challenges were many, Max's heart was buoyed by the knowledge that the tales of his parents were more than just stories. They were beacons of wisdom, lighting his path in this painted world. Yet, as the landscape continued to unfold in its wondrous complexity, Max could sense the magnitude of the trials still awaiting him, each holding the promise of deeper revelations. As the path ahead grew both clearer and more complex, Max began to feel the weight of his decision to touch the mural. Doubt and regret entwined within his heart, casting shadows that seemed to affect the very world around him. When he recalled his parents' advice and heeded their tales, the painted landscape illuminated with a radiant glow, guiding his steps. But moments where he wavered, the path would darken, and the challenges became more daunting. At one crossroad, he was met by a towering figure painted in hues of twilight. "Young traveler," the figure boomed, "before you lies a path of two. One forged in the light of remembered tales and the other, a route shadowed by forgotten words. Which do you choose?" Max hesitated, his gaze flitting between the two paths. One was bathed in a soft golden glow, while the other seemed to absorb the light around it, leaving an inky darkness. Drawing a deep breath, he admitted, "I'm not certain. My parents told me so many stories, but in my eagerness to explore, I might have forgotten some of their words." The figure, while imposing, had eyes that shimmered with understanding. To venture forth without heed is a common folly of youth. But remember, young one, the tales you've been told are not just stories. They are lessons, wisdom handed down through ages. Max, his voice quivering, responded, "I wish I'd listened more closely. I wish I'd respected their words." Memories of cozy evenings, with his mother's gentle voice weaving tales of courage and his father's deep tones speaking of ancient wisdom, filled his mind. He felt a pang of regret so sharp it was almost tangible. Seeing his distress, the figure softened. "Do not despair. While the journey ahead is riddled with trials, it's also abundant with opportunities to recall and respect the tales of your kin. Each challenge is but a reflection of the stories they shared." Emboldened by these words, Max nodded determinedly. "I will remember. I will heed their lessons." And with that resolve, he chose the path illuminated by memories of his parents' stories, hoping that with each step, he was drawing closer to mending the rift his curiosity had caused. Beyond the crossroads, the world took on an even more ethereal quality. Max wandered through forests where trees bore leaves of gold and silver, shimmering in a perpetual twilight. Rivulets flowed with liquid light, their gentle murmurs singing songs of ages past. Each step was a dance between reality and fantasy, every detail painted with the finest brushstroke of nature's palette. But amidst this dreamscape, a glade stood out. It was adorned with trees older than time itself, their trunks wide and gnarled, their canopies a cascade of iridescent shades. And beneath the grandest of these trees sat an ancient figure, draped in robes that mirrored the twilight sky, filled with stars and celestial swirls. This, Max realized, was the sage of the painted realm. The sage's eyes, old yet infinitely kind, fixed upon Max. "Young traveler," he began, his voice a blend of winds and whispers, "you tread upon a realm where few mortals dare to wander. Why have you come?" Max swallowed hard, feeling suddenly very small. "I touched the mural, drawn by its allure. But now I'm lost, trying to find my way back, guided only by the tales my parents told me." The sage nodded slowly, his gaze piercing into the depths of Max's soul. "Ah, the impetuosity of youth. Yet even in your recklessness, there's a lesson to be learned. You've begun to understand the power of the stories, the wisdom they carry." Max looked down, a mix of shame and hope in his eyes. "Yes, with every challenge I'm reminded of their words. I wish I had listened more, respected their knowledge." The sage leaned forward, his presence enveloping Max like a comforting shroud. "It is never too late to listen, to learn. This realm, this painted world, is a reflection of the tales shared, the lessons imparted. To find your way out, you must not only remember but respect and trust in the wisdom of your elders." Max nodded, absorbing the gravity of the sage's words. "I understand now. The mural, this world, it's all connected. And my parents' stories, their advice, it's the key." The sage smiled, a gentle curve that held eons of understanding. "Indeed. Now proceed with their wisdom as your guide, and remember, respect is not just about listening, It's about valuing and trusting the words shared with love. With newfound determination, Max thanked the sage and ventured forth, the lessons of his journey and the wisdom of his parents lighting his path. The heart of the mural was unlike anything Max had ever imagined. The world seemed more vivid here, colors brighter, details sharper, with every brushstroke pulsating with life. Amidst this panorama of swirling colors and dancing shadows, there stood an imposing figure, tall and regal, with robes that seemed to be painted from the very essence of the mural itself. His presence was both part of the canvas and beyond it, a guardian, a creator, the master artist. Upon seeing Max, the master artist's eyes, pools of ever-changing hues, fixed upon the boy with a gaze that was piercing yet not unkind. The wanderer who strayed into my canvas, he mused, his voice deep, resonating with the echoes of countless tales painted into existence. You are far from the frame, young one. Max, gathering his courage, stepped forward. I didn't mean to intrude. I was drawn to the mural. I didn't understand the power it held or the lessons it wanted to impart. The master artist tilted his head, considering Max for a long moment. Every brushstroke, every hue I've placed upon this canvas holds a tale, a wisdom. But it is rare for one from the world beyond to journey here. Why have you come? Feeling the weight of his choices, Max replied, Curiosity led me here, but it's the tales and advice of my parents, stories of respect and understanding that have guided my path within. I wish to return to them, to share the lessons I've learned. The master artist, listening intently, motioned Max closer. With each step, Max felt a profound connection to the very fabric of this painted world, and he understood the deep responsibility the master artist held. This mural, began the master artist, his voice like a melody of colors, was not merely painted for beauty. It is a living testament to the tales of old, the wisdom of generations, and the echoes of heartfelt advice. It stands as a bridge between the past and the future, between youthful curiosity and the sagacity of age. Max listened intently, his heart heavy with newfound understanding. I realize now that my parents' words were not just idle tales. They were lessons, shared experiences, love transformed into stories. In my haste and curiosity, I overlooked their value. The master artist, a knowing smile dancing on his lips, said, Youth, always rushing forward, eager for the next adventure, often overlooking the treasures of the past. But you, young Max, have been granted a rare glimpse into the depth of those treasures. Looking around at the captivating and ever-shifting surroundings, Max pondered aloud, Is this where dreams and memories reside? Is this world a reflection of all the stories ever told? In a way, replied the master artist, but it is also a reminder that every story, every piece of advice has its place in the grand tapestry of life. Now you have a choice to make. Max's heart raced. A choice? The master artist nodded, extending his hand to reveal two painted orbs. One pulsed with the vibrant colors of the mural, enticing and mesmerizing. The other, softer, glowed with the comforting hues of home. Stay here, he offered, in this realm of endless tales and wonder, or return to your world, bearing the wisdom and lessons you've gained. For a moment, Max was torn. The allure of the painted realm was undeniable, yet the thought of his parents, their shared tales, and the warmth of home pulled at his heartstrings. I wish to return, he declared, with a deeper appreciation for the stories, for the wisdom of my parents, and with the lessons of this journey etched into my heart. As Max voiced his decision, the very atmosphere of the mural seemed to shift. The swirling colors grew calmer, the dancing shadows gentler, and the ethereal world around him began to fade, blending the lines between dream and reality. The master artist, his figure now more translucent, nodded in approval. Your choice reflects the growth of your heart and the depth of your understanding, young one. Always remember the essence of this realm and the importance of the stories that shape us. The vibrant orb representing the painted world dimmed, and the comforting glow of the other grew stronger. Max could see, just beyond its soft radiance, the familiar sights and sounds of Merabell. But before the transition completed, the master artist offered one final piece of wisdom. Life itself is a canvas, Max. Paint it with respect, with love, and with the cherished lessons of those who came before you. With those parting words, Max felt a gentle pull, a tug at the very core of his being. The painted realm dissolved into strokes and shades, and the world of Merabell solidified around him. Max found himself back in the town square, standing before the mural. Its colors, while still vibrant, now held a deeper significance for him. It was no longer just an artwork. It was a portal to wisdom, a testament to the importance of respecting one's roots and the tales of old. As he turned away from the mural, he was met with the relieved and joyful faces of his parents. Without a word, they embraced, the bond between them stronger than ever. That evening, by the fireside, Max recounted his adventure, detailing every challenge, every encounter, and every lesson. They laughed at his descriptions, cried at his moments of despair, and celebrated his newfound wisdom. The mural remained a centerpiece in Merabell, its beauty admired by all. But for Max and his family, it was a constant reminder of the journey, of the wisdom of generations past, and of the age-old truth that respect for one's elders and their tales paves the way for a brighter, more meaningful future. And so, in the heart of Merabell, tales of old and new continued to be told, with Max's adventure becoming a cherished addition to the town's legacy.